Hi everyone, happy Friday. Here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9. Missouri Governor Mike Parsons signs 2 bills into law focusing on adoption and child safety.
We hear from a local family nurse practitioner about her time in New Mexico fighting the coronavirus as it ravaged the Navajo Nation. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. President Biden continues his push on Congress to pass his American Jobs Plan, while Republicans say it does little for what they see as infrastructure.
Doug Eddy has weather. Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. A man is in jail tonight after Joplin police say he tried to rob Andy's frozen custard. Police say Kevin Miller right there yesterday wore a mask, handed an employee a note. According to police, the worker realized it was an attempted robbery, called police. Police say Miller then displayed a knife and lunged at the worker, then fled. When officers arrived, they tracked Miller to a nearby location. Police say Miller then managed to flee from officers, but K-9 helped apprehend him. Miller faces charges of first-degree armed robbery, armed criminal action, and attempted escape from custody while under arrest. No one was hurt at Andy's custard, and no money was taken. Missouri Governor Mike Parsons signs 2 bills into law relating to foster care, adoption, and children's safety. One of the bills expands the tax credit for child adoption. The other one aims to prevent abuse and neglect in these households. This will create permanency in children's lives by allowing intervention when a child has been abandoned or neglected, making the adoption process easier.
The original goal would be that if the natural birth parent or parents can have the training, the education necessary, that you'd reunite the family with services and get to where they're a functional family again. When that becomes not possible, you want to be able to place the child in a permanent home.
Children in foster care, when progress isn't being made after previous intervention, the Children's Division can get involved, get the child up for adoption and into a loving, permanent home. That's the goal. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly has vetoed 2 Republican-backed education bills. One of the measures would have required high school students to pass a civics test to graduate. The other would have allowed the districts to incorporate gun safety courses into their curriculums. The Republican-controlled legislature approved the bills this month, but not by large enough margins to override attempts and have them succeed. It wasn't immediately clear if anyone who opposed either bill initially might back one or both in an override attempt, or even if attempts would be made. Some Republicans who opposed the bills agree with State Board of Education members who said the measures would have infringed upon the board's constitutional authority to get graduation requirements set. Meteorologist Doug Eddy joining us now with first look at the forecast. A lot of rain, huh?
Yeah, showers, thunderstorms have been rolling through over the past several hours, but at least prior to the storms, at least temperature is pretty good. We did go up to 67 during the afternoon. Average high is about 72 degrees. Look at all the rain, which has been pushing through over the past couple hours. Had a few stronger storms on the initial batch, but now it's just kind of good old showers and a random rumble or two at thunder, but we will continue. You can see the rain really picking back up on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. So Jordan, we're going to have rain through most of the overnight hours for us tonight, but what about the weekend? We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks as always. Well, last year, the Navajo Nation had the highest per capita coronavirus infection rate and among the highest death rates in the country. Now they are nearing herd immunity, but it took a lot of volunteers and outside help to get there. KOAM's Zach Dodge talked to one of those volunteer nurses. Zach has her story.
Patricia Ridings knows a thing or two about caring for underserved communities.
I worked in some rural health clinics that's really their only health care for miles and miles around.
And she had the chance to put that experience to work.
We had a disaster in our own nation, our own country was needing help.
At the beginning of 2020, she joined up with COVID Care Force, a group of healthcare providers that volunteer in areas hit hard by the pandemic. She spent 2 weeks in New York, then right afterward, went to Gallup, New Mexico to help the Navajo Nation.
There were tents outside, makeshift hospitals extending the ability of the Gallup Hospital to take patients, and they opened the high school, and we're creating negative airflow rooms for patients at the high schools.
For a week, she helped deliver masks and medicine and things as simple as water to people who oftentimes couldn't leave their homes. and help the nation start preparing for the worst.
Sadly, horrifically, body bags. Do you have body bags? Do you have refrigerator trucks? I mean, that's something we don't want to think about. But they were really in the middle of a storm, and it was just growing.
Members of COVID Care Force are still working in the nation, but the focus has shifted to vaccinations, something that's paid off as 70% of the tribe's population has now received at least their first dose.
It makes me very happy to see the progress they've made and that they've had some victories through it. They still, kind of in my heart, So, yeah, hopefully made a difference.
Now back in Pittsburgh, she keeps an arrow on the wall, a reminder of the part she played in helping a community weather the storm.
I think the message, especially for that population, that culture, is perseverance.
In Pittsburgh, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
The Navajo Nation reported no COVID-related deaths for the 11th time in the last 12 days. That was reported on Thursday. Tomorrow, area law enforcement agencies are hosting drug takebacks in Kansas. The collection events are part of a nationwide effort to safely dispose of leftover medications to prevent accidental or intentional misuse. Pittsburgh Police Department is going to host one from 10 a.m. to 2. To find other locations, just head over to our website. Click on the link that's there. You're going to find our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. CDC voting to resume the use of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. This as new COVID cases finally start dropping after weeks of increases. But health officials say we're not out of the woods just yet. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has more from New York.
America has a third vaccine option once again. The CDC Vaccine Advisory Committee holding an emergency meeting on Friday, voting to resume using the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It had been put on hold in the U.S. after several women developed mysterious blood clots. But health officials say they still have confidence in Johnson & Johnson, and the one-shot option is drawing in folks who wouldn't otherwise get vaccinated.
There's plenty of people who are interested in the J&J vaccine, if just for convenience, as well as for a single-dose option.
2/3 of seniors in the U.S. have now been fully vaccinated, and the focus is turning toward younger Americans. Clinical trials are already underway, and some experts are predicting preteens could be eligible in just a few months.
16 and up can become vaccinated. Probably by the summer and early fall, we'll be able to vaccinate those even younger, starting from age 10 and up.
And as more Americans get their shots, case numbers are finally starting to drop. New infections fell about 10% over the past week, and deaths are on the decline as well. But public health officials are still recommending against lifting any social distancing protocols for now.
But to truly turn this pandemic around requires more than government action. It's going to require each of us to take action as well, not only to protect ourselves, but to protect other people in our lives.
And the CDC is also recommending that pregnant women get vaccinated after a new study shows no safety concerns from either Pfizer or Moderna. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Researchers at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York have designed a drug that reverses key symptoms of Alzheimer's disease in mice. The doctors say some factors that contribute to Alzheimer's in mice also occur in humans, which gives hope, of course. This drug may one day help people with the disease. President Biden wants Congress to continue to negotiate with his administration on how to craft an infrastructure bill. Many Democrats want more clean energy items, while Republicans say the bill is bloated with too many liberal priorities. Fox's Lauren Blanchard is in D.C. with the latest back and forth on the price tag.
When we invest in climate resilience and infrastructure, we create opportunities for everyone. That's the heart of my jobs plan that I proposed here in the United States.
While talking about the climate with world leaders, President Biden made another push for his American Jobs Plan, a $2.3 trillion infrastructure bill which also includes money for items like green energy and expanding care for the elderly. It would also raise taxes for the wealthy and corporations. A group of Republicans have countered with their own $568 billion infrastructure bill.
You matched it apples to apples. We're not nearly as far apart as it might seem.
It's only a fraction of what President Biden has pitched. However, it hasn't been outright dismissed by the White House.
This is a good start, and we look forward to having the conversation moving forward.
The GOP plan focuses on traditional infrastructure items like roads and bridges, broadband, public transit, airports, rail, waterways, and safety.
I think good physical core infrastructure is what the American people want us to do and want us to work together. And I think we can get there.
They argue the Democratic-backed items in President Biden's plan should be part of another bill, not attached to the future of the nation's infrastructure. Some Democrats immediately called the Republican bill too small. Quote, "It's just a quarter of what President Biden has proposed, and it's not a serious effort to do anything at all about the climate crisis." President Biden will mark his 100th day in office next week with a trip to Georgia. His focus will be promoting the American Jobs Plan. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor one of our four state heroes. Lewis Peck served in the U.S. Army from 1952 to 53. Native of Gibson, Kansas, Peck was stationed in Korea, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute, of course, Corporal Lewis Peck, tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast, and a bit later, Pitt State baseball aiming to gain some ground on Missouri Southern this weekend. Gonna hear from the Gorillas in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a decent day for us today. Temperatures warmer as we did go into the upper 60s for highs prior to the showers and thunderstorms that rolled in, mainly late this afternoon. So a good chunk of the day ended up being dry after we had rain last night. The rain last night was fairly light. And then this afternoon and this evening, some stronger storms worked through. But thankfully, we haven't had anything severe, and we're not going to. Great shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, on the west side of Seneca, Missouri. Look at our temps earlier today. Most of us did go mid, if not upper 60s, and with the rain, we've dropped off a little bit. It's still not cold out there. Most of us are into the upper 50s, but a little bit chilly with the showers and thunderstorms which have been rolling through. We don't have a lot of thunderstorms right now. Now it's mainly just kind of pockets of moderate rain, light and moderate rain continuing to work through. It is expanding a bit in our western counties, so we're going to continue to have these periods of showers and a few random thunderstorms as we go through the overnight hours tonight. All right, you can see this band, moderate rain, right through the city, and then a little bit lighter near Pittsburgh, then also Miami a little bit lighter. But so these are just periods of showers and a few thunderstorms. You can see it picking back up a little bit for Fredonia, Neodesha, and then also once you get south of Grand Lake. But any severe weather has mainly been to our south, southern Oklahoma, down into parts of Texas, also western parts of Arkansas. May get a little bit of severe weather as we go through the overnight hours. For us, it's mainly just moderate to heavy bands of rain. You can see this band on top of us. Here's midnight. Then the heaviest rain will start to rotate out of here. But still, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning on the back side, we're going to get these bands of showers. And this is going to last into tomorrow morning. So if you get up early, we're going to have the clouds. We're going to have the random showers out there. And then once we get into the afternoon, that's when we'll start to see some improvements. And the sunshine will come back out, and it'll be a pretty nice weekend. Additional rainfall from this point on the Missouri side, upwards of an inch. On the Kansas side, probably closer to a quarter to half an inch. Northeastern Oklahoma, about a half an inch. Once we get rid of this system, by tomorrow afternoon, we break out. We see sunny skies, and really late afternoon into the evening, pretty good. 51 to start, 58 by noon. High temp, 65. Tomorrow night with the moisture on the ground, the winds are going to be light. We could get some patchy fog. And then as we head into Sunday, not bad. Partly cloudy skies, quite a bit warmer. We're going to go into the mid-70s by the time we head into Sunday afternoon. So Sunday looks good. Monday, lower 80s. We are going to have a lot of clouds, and then chances for thunderstorms move in by Tuesday. And some of those could be strong or possibly severe. 65 tomorrow, 75 on Sunday, 83 by Monday, then thunderstorms and cooling back down just a little bit the middle of next week.
I guess one positive here is that thankful that all this precipitation is happening now and not a couple of days ago.
True.
Otherwise, we would have had a lot of snow, right?
We would have had a lot of snow, yeah.
We'll see you in a little bit.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Doug. Coming up, unrest and protest.
Calls for justice echoing out of North Carolina after the shooting death of a black man. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer with more on the investigation and the new information officers are sharing about Andrew Brown Jr. coming up.
Protesters in North Carolina demanding justice for Andrew Brown Jr. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer has new information about the shooting and more on what isn't being revealed.
Don't shoot!
Protests continuing in North Carolina. This after the shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. Wednesday in Elizabeth City. Details surrounding the death of the 42-year-old are still under investigation, but officials revealing new information, saying deputies were serving an arrest warrant when Brown allegedly tried fleeing the scene in his vehicle. Shots were then fired.
This is an arrest warrant surrounding felony drug charges. Mr. Brown was a convicted felon with a history of resisting arrest. Our training and our policies indicate under such circumstances there is a high risk of danger.
The deputies involved have been placed on administrative leave, but advocates are calling for authorities to release body camera footage from the shooting.
There is body camera footage of the attempt to arrest Mr. Brown. The State Bureau of Investigation has this footage, and it can only be released by a judge.
Meanwhile, family members can't believe their loss.
Not a day later, after Derek Chauvin was convicted for killing a black man, and the next day, here's my nephew shot and killed by a police officer, and my nephew didn't deserve it.
As the investigation continues, officials are promising transparency and accountability. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Just ahead, if you're in the mood for a staycation or just to sightsee, gonna visit the Keltoy Winery. Friday, let's talk about some wine. When you hear about places famous for wine, you probably think about locations like Napa Valley or Bordeaux, France. But what about Jasper County, Missouri? For our four-state staycation segment, we sent KOAM photojournalist Liam Mandelbaum to a local winery that's not shy about its Irish roots.
We're at Keltoy Vineyards, out just north of Joplin, about 15 miles out in Oronogo. I heard about this place actually back in college. I had just turned 21, and Irv Langan had donated a bit of wine to Missouri Southern, and I was like, oh, this is an interesting place, and head up here, and just fell in love with it, and never went away.
I don't know what I was thinking 20 years ago when I started this. I'm kind of like, oh my goodness. But it actually, for way out here nowhere, we do seem to get a pretty good crowd.
I feel very much we're a tourist attraction. It always shocks me. I talked to someone from Germany the other day. You never know, show up if you have someone from out of state camping in your front, or if something's dramatic going on in the cellar, something's coming in, but it's always fun, always interesting, and someone always cool to meet here.
Right here is what we call Maynooth Park. A lot of people come down here because it's so quiet down here. And folks there's a mile walking trail right behind us. When you start up there at the winery, over up there in front, and you walk around here and back up there, it's a mile. And people will stop in here, and this is our Blarney Stone. And this one here is not like the one over in Ireland, which that gives you the gift of gab. This one here is for good luck. So people can tell you some things that happened that was very good luck to them by kissing this. Who knows? It may happen, may not. And wherever you have a pack of Irishmen, you need something to remind you of what Ireland's about. And that's kind of what we did out here.
We've been around for a long time, and it just kind of organically grew into this really beautiful place. And Irv and Leanna made it a great location to kind of come and set out and enjoy a glass of wine. And we're a gym out here at Keltoy. You got to just kind of find us. If you know about us, great.
If you want to check out Keltoy Winery yourself, it's open Wednesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from noon to 5. We have all that information on our morning show page at KOAMNewsNow.com. Cameron's there for the moment. One dog just couldn't take it anymore, showing she deserves first place in track. More on this when we come back. You gotta be in it to win it, right? This spirited pup, look on the top of your screen right now, wasn't content just sitting on the sidelines watching runners go by. In this video captured by Flow Sports, she's seen jumping into the competition during a girls' high school track relay in Utah. On the last leg of the relay, the dog named Holly goes neck and neck with first place runner as the two sprint towards the finish line. But if you caught it, the wayward pup tried to trip the runner. What's up with that? It's not clear if the dog was given a medal. The pup did finish first place. So, I think she deserves it. I think she deserves it. Look at her go! Staying in the lane too, except the last part when she tried to trip the runner. Come on now. All right, a new one-poll survey showing that nearly a third of people say daily chores like laundry have morphed into personal thrills. 44% get their kicks from grocery shopping. 35% get a rush when filling up their gas tank. That's weird. But when it comes to a bigger thrill like a vacation, a majority of Americans say they're going to make their next trip the longest of their lives. I'm sorry. Yeah. Tell this to my kids. Still like pulling teeth from them to try to get them to do chores. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
The state of Kansas and Crawford County have lost their mask mandates, but that's not the case for public schools in Pittsburgh. You'll learn why coming up.
Also, tomorrow is the day when Carl Junction turns into a citywide garage sale. Going to see how many people are participating this year. Some Pittsburgh parents want to know why USD 250 students are still required to wear those masks when the state of Kansas and Crawford County no longer have mask mandates. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to one parent about his concern, also the Pittsburgh superintendent, to get an answer.
Brian Hansen is a Pittsburgh bar owner and the father of a student at Pittsburgh High School. He wants to know why USD 250 students still have to wear masks in school when the state of Kansas and Crawford County are no longer enforcing mask mandates.
I don't know if they're scared to be have some sort of litigation brought up against them or whatever. Well, it's time to just be done.
But Pittsburgh school officials don't see things that way and say when it comes to the safety of students, they want to stick to what works.
Since it has proven to be effective to this point, and since we are within a short time frame to the end of the year, the board's wishes is to just go ahead and allow that policy to remain until the end of the year, and then we'll reassess for next year.
But Mr. Hansen doesn't agree with that assessment.
Well, I'm concerned with why they think that their views and ideals are more effective than what the state and also our county has said.
The USD 250 superintendent notes that while Kansas lawmakers may have axed the statewide mask mandate, the recently passed Senate Bill 40 empowers school boards to set COVID-19 policy for their districts. And the school board in Pittsburgh doesn't want to gamble when it comes to keeping students virus-free.
We don't think that it's really good for us to change policy midstream unless we have extreme factors in which the masks, since they have worked, didn't necessarily, was it considered to be an extreme factor.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
USD Superintendent Rich Profit also says that all COVID-19 mitigation factors are going to be reevaluated before the start of next year, not just the mask mandate ones. For all the garage sale enthusiasts in the area, Carl Junction, place to be this weekend. Officially it starts tomorrow, but some people got ahead of the action. Had sales today. City says there are more than 150 sales going on this weekend.
This is really awesome because it just is another opportunity. We are all about community. I know everyone is, but Carl Junction is all about supporting their community. So this is an opportunity for the community to come together, bring people from the area that maybe have never been to Carl Junction, and be able to see what we're all about, do some shopping, eat at our restaurants. I mean, it's sort of a whole community sort of day-long event.
After the garage sales, the city is hosting a cleanup day for anyone still needing to do some of that spring cleaning. A chore, not fun. One sale that already happened in Carl Junction, the Fostering Hope sale at the Christian Church of Carl Junction. Most items were 25 cents and it's meant to help people in need, to take care of community members.
We figured that someone needs a use for some of this stuff, that even if we can't have a use for it, or the foster families can't have a use for it, there's members of our community that definitely could have a use for it. So that's why we definitely do 25 cents an item, and everyone can come in and get whatever they need. And a lot of people will go out with just buckets full of stuff, basically buckets and bags to get rid of it.
We just heard sale workers say people usually find what they need, leaving the sale with those buckets just full of items they need. History was made at the Kennedy Space Center earlier this morning when 4 astronauts took off with help from a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket for the International Space Station. It's the first time astronauts have launched into outer space in a capsule that has been used before. More than 100 Boeing aircraft are being grounded yet again. The Federal Aviation Administration says 106 Boeing 737 MAX jets have been grounded globally because of an electrical problem. Boeing disclosed the issue earlier this month, recommended a temporary removal from service. The airplane maker is working on a fix. The U.S. and several other countries are assisting Indonesia in the search for a submarine that disappeared 2 days ago. Dozens of crew members are on the vessel. Fox News correspondent Benjamin Hall has more.
An international search was underway Friday to locate a missing submarine off the coast of Bali. 2 Australian ships joined Indonesian crews in hopes of finding the vessel and its 53 crew members. The US is sending along air assets to help with the search, and additional equipment is on its way from neighboring countries.
Everyone has received clearance. We approved their arrival, including a Poseidon from the United States and vessels from Australia.
At least 24 Indonesian ships and a patrol plane ramped up their search after detecting a magnetic force at least 100 feet underwater. Indonesia's military say the area of interest is about 25 miles north of Bali, and the object is likely to have come from the submarine.
According to the information we received, until today, there are 9 search points. The 9 points include one that is showing strong magnetic force.
The German-made submarine lost contact during a military exercise Wednesday morning. Authorities say they are investigating whether the vessel lost power during a dive. The country's Navy chief adding, if the vessel was still intact, it would have only had enough oxygen to last until 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Indonesian authorities say the submarine underwent repairs in 2012, but that it was still in battle-ready condition. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
A bit later, a new face mask debate.
Could wearing a face mask outside be a thing of the past? I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on why some health officials think wearing a mask outside may not be helpful after all. That's coming up.
It's definitely turned out to be a soggy evening outside for us. Showers, thunderstorms, had some stronger ones with the initial batch that really rolled through late this afternoon into the early evening hours. But since then, it's mainly been thunder showers and periods of moderate to heavy rain. And it's definitely wet out there, so if you are going to be out on the roads, be careful. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo's on the west side of Seneca. All right, temps today, most of us did go into the mid-60s earlier today prior to the rain, and then we've dropped off since then. Not a lot, but most of us are still sitting mainly into the upper 50s. I think we'll drop down into lower 50s a little bit later on tonight. Look at all the showers, all the thunderstorms over the past couple hours where you see the yellows and the oranges. That's kind of your moderate to heavy rain, but a lot of green, so we have a lot of light rain out there as well. We can actually see it expanding a little bit in our western counties and then down through north central Oklahoma. But this is the back edge. It's just going to kind of work through and then rotate through as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Zooming into the metro from Carthage, right through Joplin, Galena, Baxter. Pretty good band of rain, a little bit lighter near Pittsburgh and also Miami, and kind of a lull near Neosho at this time, but it's just going to be periods of showers and a few rumbles of thunder. We don't have anything strong or severe, which is good news, but you can see these pockets of moderate rain across the region. Any severe weather mainly staying to our south. That has mainly been southern Oklahoma, northern Texas. This little band could cause a little severe weather in western parts of Arkansas later on tonight, but besides that, we're just getting good old rain. Quite a bit of it. We've had quite a bit over the past couple hours. Here's midnight, bands of showers, some thunderstorms rolling through. Heaviest rain is going to be out of here late tonight, and then it's just pockets of showers as we go into the morning. So here's 6 a.m. You can see through the morning hours, 9 a.m., still pockets of showers, and then kind of tapering off after about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you are going to get up early, we're going to have a lot of clouds, we're going to have those showers, but the day will get better. Additional rainfall from this point on. Not a ton on the Kansas side, maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 to 1/2 an inch in Oklahoma. Arkansas and southwestern Missouri, you could still pick up another inch, 1.5 inches of rain as this system kind of rotates through. Sunshine does pop out by the afternoon, which is always nice. So Saturday afternoon, especially late afternoon into the evening, is going to be pretty good. 51 to start, 58 by noon, high temp of 65 by the time we head into tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, we could get a little bit of patchy fog. Temperatures are going to drop back into the mid-40s. And then Sunday looks great. Partly sunny, high temp, about 75 degrees, so you definitely can't beat that. as we head into the weekend. 83 on Monday, 78 Tuesday. Good chances for thunderstorms once again.
So not all the weekend is a wash. That's
no,
good.
actually, I'd say 3/4 of it looks pretty good.
Awesome. Doug Heddy, thank you. Coming up in sports, Fort Scott Community College ending its spring football season early. Plus, Galena softball hosts an interstate matchup against Mount Vernon. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
This weekend is rivalry weekend for Pitt State and Missouri Southern baseball. The Gorillas host the Lions for a 3-game series this weekend, starting with a doubleheader tomorrow afternoon. Now, these two teams, two of the best in the MIAA. The Lions are second in the league standings with 9 to go. The Gorillas currently set in 4th. Now, Missouri Southern leads the league in strikeouts, led by that dude, Zach Parrish, who has 99 in 10 starts. So while Pitt State is one of the best offenses in the league, they know they're going to have to work to score this weekend.
We got to lay off the marginal pitches and find a way to first base. If we find a way to first base, we run well enough and do some little things that it'll give us an opportunity to score runs. But, you know, we got to battle throughout. Paris, the first game, I'm sure that he's going to strike out a bunch. We have to find a way to put the baseball in play. And if we do, we'll give ourselves an opportunity to win.
The Galena Bulldogs are an even 6-6 to begin the softball season. Last night they dropped both games of a doubleheader to Colgan. Galena aims to bounce back today in a non-conference matchup against Mount Vernon. The pitcher, Madeline Cole, goes down the left field line here. Madison Freeman and Taylor Watkins score on the double. Bulldogs have an early 3-0 lead. Now in the second, Watkins gets a good piece of this one. That's over the fence. 3-run homer for Taylor Watkins. Galena extends the lead to 7. Mountaineers in the 5th. Kylie Stockton goes the opposite way into right. Tasha Collins comes home. Back to Galena though. Madison Freeman at bat. This one will go through the infielder's glove. 2 more come in for Galena. That puts it into the ball game. Galena rolls by Mount Vernon 11-1. Fort Scott Community College is ending its spring football season early. The school made the announcement earlier this week, citing injuries and attrition to the roster, leaving the team unable to safely compete. Now, Fort Scott went 0-3 in the 3 games they did play this spring, but now they're going to turn their attention to the fall. And when summer rolls around, they'll have 70-plus newcomers and about 30 returners. So it will be a different situation in just a few months, but it's not the spring finish they were hoping for.
It never felt right because we have really tough kids that came here to play football. They want to compete. They want to go out and represent the college, doing the very best they can. But unfortunately, we got to the point where we weren't going to be able to put those kids out there in the position they actually came to play and in a position where we knew they could go out and compete at their very best at the highest level with the support of having 10 guys around them that could do the same.
The Coffeyville Community College men are in the JUCO Division I Final Four tonight. They face the Chipola Indians, with the winner moving on to the national championship. Coffeyville gets it done 66-63. The coolest part, check this out, it's an all-Kansas Jayhawk Conference National Championship, with Coffeyville facing Cowley tomorrow night. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Scientists in China are developing a blood test that can quickly determine if a person with chest pain is having a heart attack. They believe the test could replace invasive and slower procedures and limit the damage for heart attack patients. With more than half of all adults now partially vaccinated at least, leaders and health officials across the country are looking into lifting more COVID-19 restrictions, including wearing masks outside. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork reports.
I think they're going to start loosening mask restrictions.
The future of face masks is up for debate again. The White House facing new tough questions Thursday about whether President Biden will continue asking the public to don face coverings at the end of his first 100 days in office. But not even his own press secretary could give a definite answer.
He is working and in discussions with our health and medical experts about what we need to do to get the pandemic under control, so I don't have any update on that at this point in time.
This comes as more than a dozen states have already abandoned their mandatory mask policies. But health authorities are continuing to advise caution.
We remain in a complicated stage.
Please mask up, everybody, because it does save lives.
But more lawmakers are hinting at a possible end to face masks in the near future.
Continue to wear the masks, and I'll keep saying it, at least through June.
And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is taking a similar tone as it now examines whether wearing a mask outdoors is even necessary, with the number of Americans getting vaccinated on the rise. An increase in vaccinations is also causing the hospitalization numbers among elderly Americans to drop significantly, in fact, down by latest estimates by some 70%. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
When we come back, going to check out the Fox TV entertainment lineup coming your way next week. You're ready to show off those vocal stylings at home with next week's Masked Singer. Plus, there's plenty of new drama and comedy in store. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Sing along to Masked Singer moments. Here's what's hot on Fox.
Why would you hide it from me?
First, Monday brings the action, starting with 911, where storylines center around parents and kids, including with the families of the 118. Then on 911 Lone Star, the 126 respond to emergency scenes, including rescuing a boy missing from his birthday.
It's coming right at us.
Tuesday starts with the resident and Chastain in the path of a tornado, putting the staff in crisis mode.
Let me do this.
Then it's Prodigal Son with Malcolm avoiding his father, Dr. Capshaw growing suspicious, and Jessica walking down memory lane for her book. Wednesday, Nick Cannon hosts the first ever Maskey Awards on The Masked Singer, a sing-along episode featuring a best of season 5. Name that tune. Thursday starts with the guessing game reboot, Name That Tune.
Timber.
Then the comedy Last Man Standing with business negotiations at Outdoor Man and friendly family competition. That's followed by Puppets from Politics and Entertainment returning for more of the satirical comedy series Let's Be Real, executive produced and written by Robert Smigel. Friday, watch the latest to square off in the ring on WWE Friday Night SmackDown. And over the weekend, a replay of the Masked Singer sing-along plus animation domination. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a gorilla in Kentucky playing with a cardboard box because, hey, every once in a while we need to get down to basics and play with a cardboard box. Have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.